Apple's getting into a major platform rights war with Epic Games. And Epic Games is 40% controlled by Tencent, which is a Chinese company that supposedly is not state-owned, but the state does control all their companies in that country. And it's kind of a ridiculous situation. So I want to get into this article. This is Apple's response to Epic's lawsuit. This just came out on Friday. Before I do, a huge help to me, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications if you want to get more updates. And also you can check out collegeofthedead.com. You can get a copy of College of the Dead Graduation Day, my ongoing zombie apocalypse series. And you can sign up at epicmermaids.com, no relation to Epic Games, to find out when The Mermaids is launching. It's a full-color, 48-page ongoing color series. It's like Game of Thrones with mermaids. All right, back to the article. Apple rips Epic's self-inflicted wounds in scathing legal filing over Fortnite App Store ban. So Apple banned the Fortnite Store app because the store app violated Apple's terms of service by having a direct payment link directly to Fortnite publisher Epic Games, cutting Apple out of the transaction, which is a violation of their working arrangement and their business arrangement, the same arrangement that Apple has with 99.9% of all their other app publishers on their platform on iPhones. And Epic decided, like, well, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's put in a direct payment link for us. Now, there are so many issues related to this, but it is a direct violation of their agreement to be in the App Store, to have these workaround wacky payment systems. So that alone is reason to cancel it. Apple says it helped grow. Okay, so here's the response. The opposition filed by a team of heavy-hitting lawyers from Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher opens by painting a picture of a burgeoning Epic Games taking full advantage of the App Store's benefits, which Apple says it puts forth tremendous resources to provide. Okay. Apple says it helped Epic grow into a gaming behemoth through its presence in the App Store, and the Fortnite developer is breaking the rules it agreed to play by, according to a Friday filing in their heated legal fight. On Epic on August 14th sued Apple and Google. So Epic distributes their games on Apple's phone as well as on Google's phones through Android, claiming the tech giants were operating monopolies and engaging in unfair anti-competitive actions. Now, how is it that it's a monopoly? I mean, how is it a monopoly if, yes, you don't have an unlimited number of platforms you can put your game on, understood, but you admit that you're on Google Play, so you're on Google, so you have another place to go. Monopoly, like, generally means, like with Diamond Comic Distributors was the only distributor for comics back in the day. It still is in a lot of cases. So, like, that's by definition a monopoly. Or they have their own store. They've got their own store. Now, maybe it's not an app store. I'm not a big follower of Epic Games, but there are other ways to get the games. So you can't really say it's a monopoly, but they are claiming it. They're claiming that there's no other way to access their games other than through Apple's store, essentially, by calling it a monopoly. The fight started after Epic launched a direct payment system for in-game purchases that circumvents Apple's typical 30% fee. Apple responded by kicking Fortnite out of its App Store. Well, wouldn't you do that? Wouldn't you do that if it was your App Store? I would kick them out. I would kick them out of the App Store, and I would say, look, you guys are not kids. You know what you did. You are never coming back to our store. Because they have to set an example. They can't have people putting wacky payment links in tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, God only knows, of apps that get published in that store. There are multiple reasons for that. Now, Apple's responding in court, and its legal moves are no less severe. The opposition, filed by a team of heavy hitters from Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher, opens by painting a picture of a burgeoning Epic Games taking full advantage of the App Store's benefits, while Apple says it put forth tremendous resources to provide. Apple's platform and their App Store is pretty innovative. It's been incredibly successful. They've put a lot of resources into it. It was Steve Jobs' last great thing he did, except maybe the iPad. So Steve Jobs is recognized as a creative entrepreneurial genius. He created essentially this app store. I don't know the whole history. I know it came through Jobs and it came through Apple, and Jobs pushing and resuscitating and turning Apple into an incredible cultural icon. And this behemoth of now this $2 trillion company. And they want unlimited access to their platform. Always respect people's platforms. Your platform is your platform. Their platform is their platform. That's my take on this whole thing. Over time, in part because the opportunities Apple made available, Epic grew to a multi-billion-dollar enterprise with large investors like Chinese. See, they're calling out China without directly, well, let's say, Chinese tech giant Tencent pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into the company, states the filing. Now, having decided that it would rather enjoy the benefits of the App Store without paying for them, Epic has breached its contracts with Apple, using its own customers and Apple's users as leverage. Now, this is another issue. It is Apple's platform. No one disputes it's Apple's app platform. Epic wants better treatment on the platform, meaning they want an ability to not have to pay Apple fees to utilize their platform or to pay greatly reduced fees. The problem is those are Apple's customers. They're not just Epic Games' customers. So you could use the metaphor of a shopping mall, and you go to the Willowbrook shopping mall, and that's in Willowbrook, New Jersey, let's say, whatever. And you're a retail store and you sell video games there. And that person goes to the mall all the time. They buy games there. They buy clothes. They get their hair done. Whatever they're doing at the local mall. Fine. So Epic needs to pay the rent at the mall. And the mall developer is the one that gets to decide what the rent is. And if you don't want to pay rent there, then you don't have to open a shop in that store. Especially when there's a mall, Google Play, right across the street. Especially when you have your own platform right here. Their own platform in competition with Apple's platform. Apple's trying to retail, whatever. These guys are selling direct to consumer. So in the entertainment business, if you want to sell direct to consumer, you can lose your presence in distribution channels, in other channels. There are retailers that won't carry products from publishers that sell direct to consumer because they're not out to help other retailers. This distribution dispute with respect to direct-to-consumer is going on in movies right now, where Disney's putting out Mulan and they're offering it direct-to-consumer and not through theaters right now. There's all sorts of disputes about things like that because technology allows it, but this isn't even Apple's issue. Apple's letting them do that. They're saying, hey, you want to sell on Google Play? Go sell. You want to sell with your own store? Go sell. You want to sell in different ways in multiple markets, like Epic is now selling their games in China? Do you want to do that? Do whatever you want. Just if you're going to sell on our platform, remember, those are our customers too. You don't just jump onto someone else's platform and all of a sudden you have endless access to it and you can decide what their fees are going to be, if any. It's the platform owner that decides who is going to be on their platform and what fees they're going to be charged. That's what's at stake with this. Epic is seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent Apple from removing the game, and Apple argues such emergency relief isn't justified because Epic created this problem by violating the rules app developers agreed to. Quote, a temporary restraining order exists to remedy irreparable harm, not easily reparable self-inflicted wounds, argues Apple. So this is a legal thing. So I'm not an attorney, but I'm going to tell you what this means. Is temporary restraining order is asking a judge to prevent Apple from making certain business moves and doing certain things. In this case, taking the Fortnite game off their platform, which they have. It can't be downloaded right now. And they want a judge to order Apple to do that because it's damaging Fortnite. But the problem with asking for a temporary restraining order is Apple's just saying, listen, first of all, it's not clear that they're going to win on the merits. And you don't get a temporary restraining order from a judge unless you can demonstrate that you probably have a good chance of winning, 60 to 80% chance of winning your legal case, plus it's causing irreparable harm, the action of the other party. But it could easily be remedied by Apple, because Apple's already said, listen, just take out your stupid direct payment links, which are also a security risk for Apple customers. There are all sorts of issues with Epic, and they haven't even raised this yet. This is a different article, The Fear Over Epic Games Store Explained. This is going back to 2019, where Epic Games had 3 issues going on with the store that they created. The issues were, for one thing, weird payment things were going on with their store. People were also nervous about giving up payment information directly to Epic Games. If that link pays Epic Games directly, and what's the issue? Because people are nervous about China owning 40% of Epic Games, which they do. So if that game is part of the platform and there's direct payment there, then essentially Apple is endorsing in their app store whatever's going on to their Apple customer. The Apple customer isn't going to be able to discriminate and say, oh, it's safe to give my name to this company that's 40% owned by China and give my payment information to them, because it wouldn't be in the App Store if it wasn't safe, because Apple maintains that App Store very carefully and they watch over publishers. I'm sure that mistakes are not ever made. I'm sure they are, but they don't want people circumventing, because for one thing, Apple's not getting paid. For another thing, they can't control where that person's financial information is going, which could make Apple a party to a future lawsuit that could be liability for Apple, or it could make someone say, F Apple, I don't trust them anymore. I'm not going to use any of the apps, and destroy their services business. There's a big risk in allowing Epic Games to do something like this. Epic Games Store is spyware and stealing personal data. There's this whole article about Epic Games doing inappropriate things with people's personal information. This is going back to March 15th, 2019, from ARS Technica. Epic says its game store is not spying on you. This is this game store. They're saying, well, we're not spying on you, but the CEO says they're going to stop accessing your Steam friends lists without permission, because that's what they were doing. And then there's a bunch of other stuff relative to this in the article. That's another reason that Apple is not just going to automatically allow and trust Epic Games, but they're being careful about how they're responding, because they're not bringing up any of these issues. Here, Epic carefully executed an orchestrated, multifaceted campaign complete with a parody video, merchandise, hashtag, belligerent tweets, and now, this is in their legal response, and now a prepackaged temporary restraining order. All of the injury Epic Games claims to itself, game players and developers, could have easily been avoided if Epic filed its lawsuit without breaching its agreements. Now, that's another very solid point. Epic Games, if they want to accuse Apple of being monopoly, that's not going to get them kicked out of the game store. Putting the direct links in violation of their agreement, direct links for payment, and trying to capture direct payment information while not honoring their contract and completely violating their contract, that's going to get them kicked out of the App Store. On top of this, you have to look at this sideways. This is why I think this is coming out of China and Chinese government stuff. How Apple's battles with Epic Games could affect hundreds of other games beyond Fortnite. And this is because, Epic Games owns the Unreal Engine, which is this 3D engine that does display graphics. And what Apple has said is, if you are going to violate our rules, we're not going to allow you to have access to our developer tools. We're not going to have you, one of our publishers in good standing. We're not going to treat you like you're in good standing if you're not in good standing. And good standing means stop violating our freaking rules. Stop violating the rules. You want to sue us? By all means, sue us. They're not cutting them off from being sued. They're cutting them off for directly violating the policies. So all the other publishers, this is the amount that Epic Games thinks of their licensees. The people who are other hundreds of game publishers that are licensing Unreal Engine and paying revenues and royalties and cash to Epic Games to be able to utilize their technology. But did they know when they paid licensing fees to this guy and his Chinese overlords that he was going to go and start this ridiculous battle directly with Apple? And I'm sure that wasn't part of the deal. That's another lawsuit of that. Look at this. Gamers who use the technology pay Epic 5% of revenues once their game makes over $1 million. Ridiculous. So they're paying a fortune in revenues and fortune in royalties to utilize their game, and Epic is picking this fight. Apple also argues that Epic can't show it's likely to succeed on the merits of its antitrust claims because its App Store has exponentially increased output, reduced prices, and dramatically improved customer choice, and it ignores that players can still access Fortnite on numerous platforms without Apple's support. Yeah, there's no way to call it a monopoly. Even if it's a significant part of a niche market, it's not the only market for their games. They've had huge success, but they want to call it a monopoly. The court is not going to give them a temporary restraining order. It's not going to happen. The tech giant says it wants Epic back in the App Store. All it has to do is remove the hot fix that allows the app to bypass Apple's payment system and app review process. Unbelievable. I mean, how much nicer could Apple be? To me, if I could get away with it, unless there was some big public response, I would say, listen, we are no longer supporting the Unreal Engine within 6 months. Get away from their technology. And as of now, we are not going to carry their stupid game. Except that a judge might not look nicely at that, so maybe they don't do it for that reason, but I would do it in 2 seconds. I'd be furious if I was Apple. Apple clearly informs developers wishing to sell their apps through the App Store that if you attempt to cheat the system, for example, by trying to trick the review process, steal user data, copy another developer's work, manipulate ratings, or the App Store discovery, your apps will be removed from the store and you'll be expelled from the developer's program, states the filing. Of course! Those agreements protect users, Apple argues, pointing to a hack of the Android version of Fortnite that distributed malware in the game. This is another, they've got a bad reputation for this kind of thing. Whether it's because of their relationship with their, major investor or not, they have a bad reputation. They shouldn't even be allowed in the App Store in the first place. If the App Store were a brick and mortar store, it would be obvious that Apple could choose which products to distribute, which customers to sell to, and on what terms, argues Apple. It's their platform. It's also a matter of arguing, well, who is the customer, who is the consumer? Yes, the consumer is using the software published by Epic Games. They're definitely a consumer of Epic Games, but the experience is provided through the App Store on Apple. And in Apple's case, it's a unique experience. It's a freaking iPhone, and Apple's responsible for that iPhone. The iPhone is not a commodity. It's not a commodity item in any which way. It's not the groceries that you're putting in a paper bag. The iPhone is not a paper bag. It's proprietary. It's a proprietary system. Apple's a $2 trillion company. They don't need my help arguing this. I'm just saying, in terms of respecting platforms and respecting people's contributions, you have to do that. And this looks like a sleazy end run around their proprietary technology that could, if they allowed Epic Games to do this, they would have to allow everyone to do it, which would destroy their business. The antitrust laws cannot condemn Apple for following the terms and conditions in place since 2008 upon which it made its App Store available to Epic and other developers. Yeah, why do they have to make their App Store available to anyone anyway? Why even include game publishers? Can't they publish their own games? Of course they can. They can publish their own software if they want to. Epic got bought into. 40% of Epic was sold for $330 million. Apple couldn't have come up with $330 million for 40% of Epic. They're sitting on hundreds of billions on most days. Epic hasn't issued an official statement on the filing, which is posted below, but Tim Sweeney has been tweeting his thoughts. Yeah, Tim Sweeney is constantly tweeting about this. It's amazing. It's amazing. Just this lack of consideration that Epic Games has for its licensees who depend on their technology, who they directly compete with. So if I'm a games publisher and I license Epic's technology for 3D graphics, Epic is competing with me, but I'm licensing their technology because it's cheaper for me than buying new engine development on my own, than developing it on my own expense. Fine. So it's cheaper to give these guys 5%. All right, fine. But now they're competing with me and they're picking a fight with Apple, and that could affect me. so ridiculously thoughtless. So they've got their own platform, and here's Epic Games complaining that Apple threatened to cut them out of the App Store entirely. Well, of course they will. They're not only threatening to, they're doing it. Epic Games is seeking to form a coalition of Apple critics. This is from The Information. Fantastic website. Great stories. A lot of early news on stuff going on in entertainment from theinformation.com. I mean, this is nonsensical. Honestly, if you form a coalition against me, I'm not going to invite you back on my platform. So whoever's looking to ever be on any platforms of mine, if you get involved with forming a coalition of critics against me, I'm not going to allow you on my platform. You do the same. Epic is rallying Fortnite players against Apple with a new tournament. So they're creating tournaments. You know, it's denigrating Apple. You know, it doesn't help Apple's relationship with its customers. So they're attacking Apple's customers and they're damaging Apple's presence. And they're damaging Apple's brand with this by trying to bring their mutual customers. Their customers sourced off of Apple. Now they're using those customers to attack Apple. And then, of course, there's all this nonsense with Epic Games. They're not spying on you. Now, Apple has offered, this is interesting. I didn't know this before I started investigating this Apple situation more. So Apple is offered a 15% discount fee on subscriptions for Apple Prime Video and Amazon's Prime Video. And they did something similar for Netflix, where they gave a discounted fee of 15% rather than their 30% because they were subscriptions. And they were subscriptions that they want to pursue. So there are news publishers that are saying, "Hey, we publish too. We publish as well, just like Amazon does with Prime. Prime is a video subscription service, and hey, Netflix is a video subscription service. How about our news service? You know, can we get a 15% reduced discount?" And Apple's attitude is like, "We'll consider anything, but no." You know, it's not just for subscriptions only. Apple gets to decide. It's their freaking platform. Do you have a company that's as important as Netflix? Do you have a company that's as important as Amazon? Amazon blocks people from their platforms with their Fire Stick as well. They're blocking HBO Max. They're blocking NBC's Peacock streaming service. Why are they doing that? Because they're competitors. Are they allowed to? Absolutely, they're allowed to. They can charge whatever they want. You own your own platform. It's part of your intellectual property, how you promote and sell, particularly direct to consumer, but also if you have wholesale access of stuff that you're selling to be resold to other places. Tencent has investments in multiple video game companies. So this arrangement with Tencent owning a part of Epic Games and the battle with Epic Games, it has to do with control of the video game market. It's more than just what they're trying to do with Fortnite. So Apple has to be very careful about how they proceed. Apple's also been doing very well with their stock lately. I recently did a video talking about how they reached $2 trillion in market valuation because of the growth of their services service, which includes, that niche includes all their App Store revenue. It's a big part of it. So they're not going to let that get jeopardized. So good for them for trying to smack these guys down. I would not trust... Look, your platform is your platform. Whatever company you happen to be, if you're big or you're small, people need to respect it. That's the bottom line here. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below. I'm interested to get your feedback on it. Do you see what Apple's doing here? Do you see what... Epic Games is trying to do with Fortnite? What's your sense on this? If you were Apple, would you have done this? Would you have said, "Hey, listen, if you're going to be in bad standing, then sorry, we're not going to do any business with you"? Would you have done that? You know my take on it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, and you can also support me at collegeofthedead.com. Pick up a copy of College of the Dead Graduation Day, and you can sign up at epicmermaids.com. No relation to Epic Games, to get the email for when we're going to be publishing The Mermaids, which is going to be very soon. A full-color ongoing series, starting with the first book. It's like Game of Thrones with mermaids. I know you'll like it. All right, I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.